Today we are going to do a video of how we make pho or Vietnamese beef noodle soup from scratch at home. First you want to get a big old pot and we will start putting in the ingredients. Just for the broth, this is a beef marrow bone, which is the long shaft of the beef, and with the marrow that he's pointing to in the center there. That's a good stuff, and you want to make sure you have that. Most of our purchases today were from T&T. Next we have oxtail that they've cut up into small pieces. Okay, and that's good stuff. You want to make sure that you rinse your meat off. We also have veal breast.
It's sliced from the rib.
It's sliced from the rib, okay, yeah.
It's trimmed from the rib, so a lot of fat and tendon.
Yeah. And we'll be cooking that for a long time. Put all that in there. That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
Okay. And we also have tendon. This is the cooked tendon already. When it's not cooked, it's not as firm. It's quite limp and white. This is cooked already. You can buy it either way.
So you don't want to cook this for too long, though.
Okay. And then you want to fill the pot up with water. We're going to boil everything, bring everything to a boil first, and just to cook it slightly, and then we'll be dumping it all out. So you don't need to fill the entire pot with water, just enough to cover the meat. Okay. That's good. Just like that. Okay, so the pot's been boiling, and just to a slight boil, I guess, and then...
It was a full boil.
It was a full boil. Okay, so then you can expect to take the crud out.
There's a big bowl of crud.
Although you don't really need to do it because you're going to be dumping this out anyways and washing the bones with water. So this is, if you like to waste time, then that's what you can do. So, now we're just taking it out. There's the tendon.
Tendon does need to go back in because it's pre-cooked.
Yeah.
Veal breast.
Okay. Once you rinsed off the bones, dumped out the previous broth, you can wash out your pot and put the bones back in, fill it up with water, add a little bit of salt. Okay, that's enough. And you want to bring this to a boil, but you don't want to boil it for too long because you want to keep the broth as clear as possible. If the broth is boiling for too long, it will actually become cloudy, which just isn't as pretty, not as good. Okay, so we've got it on high right now, but once this comes to a boil, we will turn it down to probably medium and cover it with a lid and let it simmer just like this for at least 2 to 3 hours. While that's going on, another part of pho is onions and ginger. You want to take a whole onion and ginger and cut it up just like that. Cut your onion into quarters. And we're going to roast it. And the ginger, split it in half like that. We'll be roasting it directly onto on the element of the stove. And you have to have that smell, a bit of that burning smell. That's how I've always known that my mom is making pho for dinner, because as soon as I walk in the house, I smell that burning smell and I know exactly what's for dinner. And that smell always brings me back to my childhood memories. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. It's nothing better than coming home from school in Vancouver on a rainy night, which happens quite... Okay. Okay, so we're just gonna put it right on the stove like that. And you just want the heat just on medium there. Don't want it on too high. You want to roast it and just until it gets a little bit black with the grill marks on there. And flip it over to the other side. So it's been flipped over already, the onion and the ginger. And it smells really good right now. Very comforting smell. Okay, another thing that you'll need is a rice stick, which comes in a package like this. And you want to make sure that it's rice stick and not vermicelli, which looks like this. Vermicelli is a lot smaller. The rice stick, we didn't get a chance to show you it when it was still in the package, but this is the package with just a white background in the back, so you can see that. Make sure it says rice stick. There's different brands you can buy. And what we do is you'll have to soak it. So that's how wide it is. They have different width. There's fine, and then there's medium, and then there's large. And yeah, just soak it in room temperature water just to get it soft like that. And we'll show you that again when we actually prepare the bowl. Another kind, so that rice stick that I just showed you is the dried one that you buy just off the shelf and that you soak it in the water. You can also buy fresh rice stick noodle where it's already softened, and it's sometimes in the freezer department. You can take it, and this is already thawed. It's been cooked already. It's made fresh and it wasn't dried. And I myself prefer this one. Ed prefers this one. So we usually buy both. And this one, you don't have to soak it. We're just going to blanch it right before preparing it. We'll touch on that later. Okay, so now the onions and the ginger have been nicely roasted, and you want to make sure you turn off the element, which is very good. Ginger. The next part with the ginger and the onions, you'll want to get a stapler and a coffee filter like that, okay, and a masher thing. What we're going to do is just take each piece and just gently just mash it up just to get the flavor out. And place it in your coffee filter. I don't know how other people do it, but this is how we do it at the Phams.
Other people just toss it in the pot, and this leads to a lot of crud floating in the pot.
Okay, there you go. Same thing with the ginger. So we mash it up. So basically what we'll be doing is putting it in there, and we'll staple shut the coffee filter and placing it in the broth. And that will cook for a few hours. There you go. It looks like a giant gyoza or pierogi. Okay? Pierogi. And it just goes in the pot. Okay, there we go. It takes 2 of these, the amount of onions and ginger that we use. And it just stays like that. Keeps your broth clear. See how clear it is? You can see to the bottom. That's how you want it to be. And you keep it by not letting it boil, as I said earlier.
Alright, this is the beef that's for the rare that goes on top of the bowl. And I think it's inside round, which is inside round or a better cut. You can look for the grain of the beef. You see that the grain goes this way, so you want to cut this way. This way. That makes the beef even that much more tender. And just take a very sharp knife and just as thin as you can. There you go.